There we go. All right. Get this brought up. Okay.
The thing that
AI
immediately
limit
stands out when roaming derelict buildings and creepy aqueducts in AI Limit is just how stylish and crisp everything looks. And as it turns out, that killer presentation goes quite a long way. Sure, it's yet another Souls-like with the same old bonfire checkpointing system, punishing combat encounters, and super gross bosses that really need to take a chill pill. But I've got to admit, the anime-inspired, sleek and cartoonish art style really won me over, and I could see this becoming my next sweaty fascination. You know, maybe as a nice chaser in between Shadow of Erdtree.
First thing I want to say real quick is I'm not seeing any variety with the combos. Like, you would think, like, since it's an anime type of Souls game, you would think there'd be more combos with the, like, each weapon would have, like, maybe, like, 3 or 4 combos or something. But it doesn't look like there are.
3 sessions. Like countless genre peers, AI Limit makes no apologies about its inspiration. This is a Souls-like through and through.
Yeah, you see what I mean? It's like, it's just
from fallen enemies to spend on stat upgrades, find weapons and equipment in every monster-filled corridor to customize your fighting style and abilities. And, of course, die a whole heck of a lot when some tanky boss with serious anger management issues uses your face as a doormat. Classic Souls-like stuff. And at least in the hour-long demo I played, AI Limit seems content to follow that blueprint to a T, offering pretty much no novel tweaks on the formula or reasons to play this one over the piles of games like it, with one notable exception.
Sounds like he's saying it's trash.
Endlessly impressive and hard to look away from art style. That might not sound like enough of a differentiator to keep one's interest, and yet I found it to be the primary reason I was so eager to claw my way through each deadly zone to see what awesome looking thing awaited me in the next area.
I mean, art style is cool, but if the gameplay doesn't have anything new, if it doesn't have anything new to kind of not reinvent, but you know, add on to the Souls kind of genre, I mean, what's the point?
In the same way that the Persona series follows the traditional JRPG playbook very closely, but sets itself apart by oozing style and unrivaled swagger, AI Limit really did stand out to me in many of those same ways. Whether it was the sleek and interesting UI, or combat animations that made me feel like I was the main character in an action-packed anime as I cut down the enemy with ease. I found myself nodding my head in appreciation even when every other aspect was fairly by the numbers.
I'm honestly not seeing anything.
I will say though, it's a bit surprising that despite all the style AI Limit has going for it, the protagonist, at least in the demo, is
I'm not seeing any kind of variety in the combat.
With no dialogue and a deadpan look on her face at all times, there's not much beyond some neat-looking outfits and sweet combat animations for me to go on. She doesn't even make any kind of noise when she takes damage or dies, which just feels odd.
And it's not, real quick, let me say this. It's not because, like, I understand Souls games, they don't really have a ton of variety with the swings. Like, that's a normal thing. But my issue with it is because it's an anime type of thing, that because you add on the anime part of it, I'm, like, in my head, I'm expecting, you know, a bit more flourishes. Something kind of like how, like Stellar Blade was. I'm not expecting this to be Stellar Blade, but, you know, I'm expecting a little bit more flair with the attacks. But it's just so basic.
I mean,
swing,
I get
swing,
this lady's
swing,
supposed to be a robot, but why even give her a human appearance if you aren't going to give her any humanity?
I mean, the art side is kind of cool,
hoping
but
these details merely didn't make it into this early build of the game. The demo confined me to an early area that seemed pretty clearly intended as an introductory tutorial zone. But even so, I managed to find some new weapons to try out and outfits to try on, and fooled around with one of AI Limit's precious few unique mechanics, the sync rate meter, which is charged up by attacking things and loses power when you take hits or use special abilities that consume it, like firing
Isn't that kind of how it works in Bloodborne?
Lying around. Most importantly, the sync rate meter also determines how much damage your weapons do, rewarding you for keeping the meter full and punishing you for depleting it, which made for a pretty interesting trade-off. AI
hold
limit
on.
might not be immediately groundbreaking at first blush, but I
Is that
trade-off
supposed to be a boss? Why is he doing such little damage?
for keeping the meter full and punishing you for
When he was
Most
he wasn't
importantly,
maxed out on the
sync
meter,
rate
but
meter
halfway,
also
like he's
determines how much
doing.
damage your weapons do.
Look at that, he's ticking it. And that's with halfway of the sync. He must be under leveled for
Rewarding
the
you for
area.
keeping the meter full and punishing you for depleting it, which made for a pretty interesting trade-off. AI limit might
Hold
not
on,
be
did he-
immediately
Was he
gained,
getting chunked?
which your weapons do, rewarding you for keeping the meter full
Yeah.
and punishing you for depleting it.
Yeah,
which made
he's
for a
he's in
pretty
an over
interesting
he's in
trade-off.
an over leveled
AI
area.
limit might not be immediately groundbreaking at first blush, but I'm definitely intrigued by its fantastic presentation, enough to add it to my list of Souls-likes I'm excited to play. With a release date planned for later this year, it seems I won't have to wait too much longer. For more, check out our recent previews of Diablo 4: Vessel of Hatred, or follow our coverage of Star Wars Outlaws all month long as part of IGN First.
So-
and for everything else, keep dying.
I don't know, man. I was excited about this one, but it could literally just be the way the guy's playing the game. It may just be that, because like the lack of flourish with the fighting style, it just, I don't know. Code Vein 2. That's the other game I was thinking of, Code Vein. Is anybody else talking about the way the combat is? Let me see. Is anybody else talking about the combat? It's great to see a Souls-like that isn't set in a world with brown, black, and gray color palette. Looks somewhat similar to Code Vein. Code Vein. The German equivalent to IG Code Vein. Okay, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the weird one. I need to try out Code Vein and see if it was getting, I don't know. I've never played Code Vein, but I wanted to. I'm gonna have to check that one out. I know I have it in my Steam. I'm pretty sure I do. Yeah, I do have it. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna play that.